Hello, beautiful souls. I'm your host, Shakira Moore, and welcome to another episode of the Perspective Matters podcast. So last week, I decided to do things a little differently by delivering the entire episode in patois. I must say I thoroughly enjoyed doing that episode. I had a blast. It was absolutely fun doing an entire episode in patois, and I'm really glad that you enjoyed it and that you were actually able to understand what I was saying. So thank you for the support. Thank you for all the positive feedback, ideas, suggestions I got coming out of last week's episode. And I just want to let you know that going forward, I will be trying new things with the podcast because I want to keep it fun and light and entertaining, but also inspire and motivate you with the proverbs, short stories, and gems that I will share. I'm also mindful that my audience is pretty international and I want to make sure the podcast is inclusive. So going forward, I'm going to be doing majority of the episodes in English, and of course I'll inject a little patois every now and then. So I'm really glad y'all liked last week's episode, but for the sake of my international audience, may I stick to the English. Oh, that sound. So for this week, we're going to talk about control. And I'm really excited about the proverb, so to speak, that I'll be sharing this week. It's actually lyrics from a song done by a Jamaican dancehall artist. This was a hit song in the late 1980s, and it got a little highlight in the last few years because it was at the center of a lawsuit. So if that doesn't have your interest, well, I don't know what will. So the proverb, and I use proverb in quotes because it's not really a proverb. As I said, it's actually lines from a song. And the song is We Run Tings. So this song was done by a Jamaican dancehall artist named Flourgon. Was a song that was done in 1988. And the lyrics I'll be quoting are we run things, things no run we. I'll say that again. We run things, things no run we. And I really like the lyrics of that song because they capture the Jamaican spirit. If you know anything about Jamaicans, you know that we are a resilient set of people. We are highly ambitious. We are defiant. We are a small nation, but also mighty. We dominate in every field. Anything we put our minds to, we achieve. And we run things no run we really captures the essence of our spirit. And for those of you who are struggling to figure out what we run things no run we mean, it means we control our circumstances, or circumstances don't control us. We control our circumstances, or circumstances don't control us. And that's the message for this episode this week. That whatever you're going through in your life, take the perspective that you are in control, you are not being controlled. You are the master of your circumstances. Your circumstances are not the master of you. And I know it's easier said than done. Trust me. I know. But I just want you to pause and reflect on how you've responded to circumstances in your life, especially those that brought immense challenges or even minor challenges, but challenges nonetheless. How did you respond to those circumstances? If you're honest enough, you'll recognize that your response to those circumstances reflect whether or not you are in control. And here's an important point that I want you to pay attention to. How you respond to any circumstance determines the level of control you have over those circumstances. I'll say that again. How you respond to those circumstances affect the level of control you have over those circumstances. And I'm talking about your emotional and your physical response. As I'm making this episode, one of the favorite thoughts I have comes to mind. He who angers you controls you. And if you're somebody who people can get a rise out of easily, then I really want you to pay attention to this episode. Because it is important that as you go through life, you recognize the difference between responding and reacting. And trust me, they are two entirely different things. Your peace of mind, your well-being, and the level of satisfaction that you enjoy is determined by whether or not you know the difference between responding and reacting. So take, for example, somebody does something that annoys you. And typically, your first inclination is to fly off the handle. Is to just lose it and go crazy. I would say you losing it and going crazy is a reaction to that stimulus. Somebody annoyed you. You got angry. You went crazy. Probably said some things that you may have to apologize for later. Probably did some things that you may have to apologize for later. So there was no thought behind your actions. It was just stimulus and boom, you went off. No. For someone who is going to respond, there is intention behind that response. You are annoyed by something or someone before any kind of emotion is elicited out of you. You ask yourself the question, why does this annoy me? Is there something deeper going on here? Am I overreacting? Am I projecting? Does this circumstance or does this person or does this situation warrant me being upset or angry? And how angry and upset or how annoyed should I be? And it sounds like a lot, but really and truly these questions should be happening in a split second. And it is important that those questions are asked because depending on the answer, then your response might just be to ignore whatever it is or whoever it is. Or just to tell them, listen, what you're doing is annoying me. I'm going to need you to stop doing that. Or stop saying that. Or you remove yourself from the situation. But those kinds of decisions only come with practice and with intention. And it takes work. Especially if you are somebody who likes to fly off the handle real quickly for just about everything. Being able to pause and take a step back does require discipline, self-awareness, effort, dedicated effort, and a commitment to being better. And I can say this because, believe it or not, and for my friends who are listening, they will be nodding their heads in agreement. I had a very short fuse. You lit the match and boom, that was it. I would get annoyed and angry and ticked off for just about everything. And then I was told that that kind of behavior is not healthy. And as I got older, I'd be setting myself up for serious health issues if I didn't learn how to choose my battles. And believe it or not, that is true. When you're young, full of energy, full of life, especially early teen years to say mid to late 20s, you feel everything intensely. Ooh, you're full of so much passion, right? So everything you feel is amplified. So you feel love on a whole different level. You feel heartbreak on a whole different level. Joy, happiness, sadness, just everything is just so intense. Right? Can you relate? And of course, your reaction to things will be just as intense. Because you're still trying to figure out who you are as a person. You're still dealing with all these emotions, trying to label them, trying to identify them. And you may or may not have people around you to guide you and to help you navigate all these emotions that you're feeling as you're going through your life and trying to figure stuff out. But if you don't have the right guidance, and if you're not self-aware, and if you're not keen on growing and being better and maturing, then you'll find that in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you're still responding and still reacting to things like you're a teenager. You'll fly off the handle at a moment's notice. You'll get properly ticked off. You'll be so easily annoyed by any and everything. And then is it a wonder when you're diagnosed with some kind of disease? And I'm not talking about diseases that may also come from your lifestyle choices, right? But your attitude and behavior towards life really does impact your health. It really does. So, as a younger person, I was very guilty of this. I was the poster child for this kind of behavior. But thanks be, got wiser, got older, went through some things, and realized that if I wanted to be better, if I wanted to do better, if I wanted to have a good quality life, if I wanted to achieve the things I set out to, then I could not remain this way. And I would have to learn the difference between reacting and responding. And I would have to decide which of the two would I do. Was I going to react or was I going to respond? Because they're two entirely different things. And I chose to learn how to respond. I'll be the first to put up my hand and say it is not always easy because I'm not made of stone and it is not ice water that runs through my veins. So there are times I may not get it right. But I do try, I do endeavor, and it is a daily choice. Am I going to respond or am I going to react? So my encouragement to you, my beautiful souls, as you encounter circumstances, as you navigate your own paths, bear in mind the lyrics of this song. We run things, things no run we. You are in control of your circumstances. Your circumstances are not in control of you. So therefore, you will respond to people, circumstances, problems, challenges, issues, opportunities. You're not going to react because you know better. This saying is so important, especially at a time like this where we would tend to feel like we're losing control. We would tend to feel like we don't have any control over what is going on whatsoever. There are some of us living in countries where we're still in lockdowns, still living under nightly curfews. So how can you feel as if you have any control? It sounds like desperate times. Well, I'm here to tell you that the perspective does matter. How you choose to look at things really matters, and it truly makes a difference. Whether you respond or you react really makes a difference, and I implore you to learn. I implore you to begin and to daily make the choice to respond. And anytime you face a circumstance or a situation, remind yourself that you run things, things not run you. So you are going to pause. You are going to assess the situation. If you need to take a step back, then you'll do so. And you'll decide on the best course of action, which could be inaction. Because sometimes no response is a response. And sometimes you need to bestow the gift of silence onto some people because they're really be trying you. Not every invitation that is extended to you warrants acceptance. So not every fight you're invited to, you need to attend, because he who angers you controls you. And that's not to say you should never, ever, ever, ever get angry, because it is a useful emotion. And if channeled properly, you can accomplish fantastic things. Just look at the successful people who were told they wouldn't make it, couldn't make it, you're no good, who turns that anger and that pain into passion and are now successful. So don't get me wrong. There is a place for anger. There is absolutely a place for it. But just be mindful that you are responding and you're not reacting. That your choice in your behavior and the emotions that are elicited from you are intentional, because you are in control of how you feel and what you think. So my beautiful souls, thank you so much for listening. It was my absolute pleasure to share with you again this week. Back to regular programming, because I want each and every one of you to understand everything that I say. And you have no doubt when it comes to the message I'm trying to deliver here. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for your words of encouragement and your feedback. If this episode, like every other, resonates with you, and do me a favor, share the episode with your friends. Don't keep all of this goodness to yourself. You have to share it, man. Share this goodness like how you da share food. Unless you're craving and you don't like share. And you need to fix that. So share this episode with your friends and family and your network. I'm certain there is something here for everybody to walk away with. A little gem or a nugget that will do them a world of good. So share the episode, please and thanks. And if you have not yet done so, and you happen to be an Apple Podcast listener, please leave me a review and a 5-star rating. I'm not ask so much. Easy, man. I give you good content. You leave me a review, 5-star rating, and you share the episode with your friends. Oh, that sound bad. It was my absolute pleasure doing this episode. I hope as you go through the rest of the week, as we get ready to face a new month and we take on the rest of 2021, you'll be reminded that we run things. Things not run we. So until next time, remember, there are 2 sides to every coin. Just flip it to get the full view. Catch you next week. Bye.